The elixir is flowing. The decks are set. It's time for the Clash Royale League. In the tunnel, Team SoloMid and NRG, shoulder to shoulder and ready to throw down. On one side, NRG's Carter and Hazard, looking hungry for a win. On the other, Vulcan, Firewolf, and a TSM team in need of one. Who will capture this most important W?
Hello and welcome as we kick off the 4th week of Clash Royale League. I'm Rich Slayton. Joining me is Andrew Guy for a division that's really starting to heat up, especially as we get closer to that race for those top 4 playoff spots.
Yes, we're looking at the placings here, and you look at complexity, 5-0 at the top, 100 Thieves still fighting for that very first win. But if you look, these two teams are in very interesting places. SoloMid's only played 3 matches where NRG has played 5.
So 2 extra games or matches in hand for TSM, and of course, they're all vying for that spot, a chance to represent North America in the World Finals, and you can follow all the action by hitting subscribe on the Clash Royale Esports page, going to esports.clashroyale.com, and of course, swiping over to your Esports tab in your Clash Royale app. And today, starting off for our North American action, 2 teams, both of which have a lot of talent trying to find their stride, TSM versus NRG.
Yeah, we go over to TSM, and they just are coming off a tough loss to Immortals. Now, they took it to the last game in each of the first 2 sets, but they just could not bring it home. We got Firewolf, Vulcan, and Air Surfer, and of course their opponents, NRG, coming off a big win over Tribe. We got Prashant PP making his CRL debut, Carter and Hazard and Guanic. It'll be interesting to see if these guys switch up their 2v2 lineup since they've had so much success. I cannot wait to see how this first match shakes down, brother.
And of course, with Carter being the hero in the last show up for NRG, he's also been supported significantly by his 2v2 partner throughout all of CRL so far. That's Hazard, and he is standing by right now with our colleague, Christy St. John.
Thanks, guys. Hazard, so you came off of a 2v2 sweep of Tribe last time. With this balance update, do you think you got the new meta figured out?
I mean, me and Carter have been really kind of in sync so far with 2v2 with this new balance update. I mean, even beforehand, we felt really confident, but going into this, we think we're just a little bit ahead of all the other teams right now.
So, do you have any advice to give to someone who's maybe like lower level on the ladder and just like looking to climb real fast?
I mean, what I always did, I just kind of like tried as many different decks as possible. And once I found one that I really enjoyed, not even if it was working out, but just like if I really enjoyed playing it, I just found it like more fun to play the game. And obviously, the more you play, the higher you're gonna get. So I just, just play what you like.
Have fun, play what you like. Thanks. Back to you guys.
2 very cerebral teams. Both are really analyzing each other, trying to make the correct choices, not just for card ban, but for lineup, and of course deck choice being so critical here with the matches being so close. And to find out what they're thinking to prepare for this match, let's take a look inside the war rooms.
It's not letting me start talking. Okay guys, so today we're going up against NRG. We know they have some solid players. It looks like they changed their lineup. Guanic is no longer doing the 1v1. So it's going to be interesting versus PP. And I think we are well prepared. We spent a lot of time practicing yesterday, and we're ready to get this dub. TSM on 3. 1, 2, 3. TSM!
I feel ready for today, okay?
I feel like reason behind everything is only one, that is to win.
To win?
To win.
I like that. I like that reason. You
looking good, okay?
Yep.
Ready to be Vulcan?
Of course.
Let's go, baby. It's your debut.
On his birthday?
On his birthday, yeah.
I'll feel bad about it.
It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck to lose on a birthday, but I mean, it is our duty to establish dominance, and I think we can do it.
I'll wish him.
You want to wish him happy birthday?
Sure, I already did, actually.
I already did too, yeah.
You guys feeling good?
Feeling great.
You feeling good, Carter?
Yep.
All right. Let's go, baby. NRG on 3, baby. 1, 2, 3. NRG.
We have said all that we should to set the stage. We have analyzed and shown cool graphics. Now it's curtain time. Put your hands together for 2 terrific tandems ready to take towers. NRG and TSM. Let's go!
The King breaking out the high-level alliteration to get us kicked off in this terrific 2v2 tangle. See, I can do it too, King. And we have no surprises here. NRG with Carter and Hazard up against Air Surfer and Firewolf.
I'm just going to try to speak normally. I don't think I can hang with you and the King. We got Air Surfer and Firewolf, or Fire Surfer as we call them, and Carter and Hazard. These 2 lineups have actually stayed the exact same for these teams, which I think is really interesting, because talking to other coaches and managers, they start to talk about strategizing and pre-game strategy when you know what the lineup is going to be. So you wonder if they're coming in with a disadvantage or an advantage going with the exact same players.
And here is the set for 2v2 card bans. Tornado, again, making a regular appearance. But as we've said a few times this last week or so, Lava Hound now becoming more prominent on that ban list.
Yes, and I just want to point out that this is an awesome draining elixir graphic at the bottom. I love it. I'm nerding out. I think they're great bans. I think they've understood that the Lava Hound is really detrimental in 2v2, and we're going to see exactly how these two teams take advantage of those bans going into the very first game of 2v2.
Let's do this.
So TSM's Fire Surfer at the top of your screen. NRG's Hazard and Carter, no fun name for them quite yet. Picking things up at the bottom. Now, I spoke a little bit with Airwolf and Fire Surfer talking about, you know, how dominant the Golem meta has been here in 2v2. And they said that they think that they have the answer. They have a way to break that meta up. So far, though, looking like a very different type of deck from both of these pairs.
Interesting, yeah. You see the Royal Recruits and the P.E.K.K.A. Those are great responses to a tank, as well as the units behind it. If you drop the Royal Recruits on the backside of a Golem, that's very interesting. But we do know from earlier today that Team Queso was trying, or earlier this week, excuse me, that Team Queso was trying to break the Golem, and they just couldn't figure it out. So maybe, just maybe, TSM's figured it out.
It's very possible two young but very cerebral players talking with their manager, Mike, says that this is a really easy team to take care of from a management perspective. They're very mature, they take care of themselves. And from talking with Air Surfer and Firewolf, both of them seem to be very dedicated to their job here at CRL.
Yeah, I love that. You don't want to have any drama on the team. You guys are here for business and to win. One thing only that matters at the end of the season is that first place. So I love it. I love that they're all focused and on the same page. And as for this matchup that we have right now, we do see that they kind of have the answers to a Golem, but I don't think NRG is running a Golem deck.
I have not seen Golem from either team so far. We've reached the halfway point of regulation time, and it looks like we are going to have an outside of the 2v2 so far established meta, and I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah, and I like that good sportsmanship there with that great pickup on the Poison. They're taking out the Dark Goblin and the Magic Archer. It's those small plays, those small micro interactions with that Poison that they're just like game changers.
So we have double Royal Hogs and the Royal Recruits coming out from TSM. When you look at what NRG has ready in response, do you think they have the answers for this deck? I
mean, I love the way that Magic Archer was used. Now, obviously, it just got picked off, but they're doing a great job of spreading out these troops that have very long range and do a lot of damage, i.e. the Flying Machine, the Dark Goblin, and the Magic Archer. They're doing an incredible job of splitting them up and splitting up their damage.
Of course, the longer a card can stay on the playing surface, the more quote-unquote value it gets, to use a term that gets thrown around here a lot. But you saw how long that Dark Goblin stayed out there. And, you know, I'd be interested to see what the average numbers are for how long a card like a Dark Goblin actually survives.
Yeah, I mean, you and I both know when that Dark Goblin stays alive for more than even 10 seconds, it does so much damage. It is so annoying, and it takes such a little response. It could just be a log or arrows, but, you know, it really demands it.
On the left-hand side, the Flying Machine escapes, gets through a couple of hard hits. And here's that value of splitting the Royal Hogs. The Fireball has to make a choice, but still going to get significant damage on both sides. As we go into sudden death overtime, these two teams very, very close.
Yeah, you wonder if TSM is going to end up getting bitten in the butt by splitting up their damage between two towers and not just focusing on one like NRG is. Now, NRG's brought that tower down to 748 health. It doesn't matter if you got two towers low, you need to take one down. And I honestly think the splitting of the damage might come back and bite them.
At this point, yeah, all it takes is one, and down to 748 is the right-hand tower. If this Ram can get through, that will change the tenor, but you know, you see the, oh my gosh,
wow,
look at that.
Great pre-Flying Machine. They knew that Tombstone was the only response they had. The Dark Goblin and the Flying Machine picking it off, creating even a larger response. I believe NRG is going to take game one.
The Miner not getting picked up by the Valkyrie, so now in significant trouble. Now, Andrew, we have seen crazier things happen, but with the Poison Fireball, looks like that's going to be it on the right-hand side. Game number one for Hazard and Carter. NRG off to a fantastic start.
Rich, this is what I love about 2v2. Both of these teams playing very, very great Clash, but NRG just edged them out by a little bit. They were doing everything that they needed to offensively and defensively. Sometimes you just can't take the game, and this match was played perfectly.
Now, Andrew, with all the area of effect damage cards that NRG had, right, you see, for example, the Baby Dragon, you see the Fireball. you're talking about how splitting the Royal Hogs wasn't really doing its due, but was there really a good option for playing the Royal Hogs down one lane?
I mean, no. Obviously, they would have if they could have. If they saw the breaking through, they needed to keep splitting it up. If they just focused in one lane, it would have been much easier for NRG to defend. So I wouldn't have changed it. I just didn't think it was working for them, especially against the deck they were playing against.
Well, you have to wonder if that was the 2v2 Golem Breaker deck that NRG was talking about.
I mean, it looked like they were both running like a Golem Breaker deck.
Well, we'll find out if one of them has it here in game number 2.
Could play Mortar Bait. Okay, we'll see. Let's go.
And you'll see that helpful graphic pop up on the left-hand side. NRG has one logo down. They need one more to take the set victory and move into 1v1 with the advantage.
And if that wasn't Murphy's Law in effect, talk about people running 2 anti-Golem decks and then, no Golems end up on the field. Pretty ironic.
Well, but even if that didn't happen, Andrew, I'm enjoying seeing some variety here in 2v2. Not to say we haven't seen more and more of it in the last week, like week 3, week 4 of CRL play, but seeing some players take risks like this, very, very exciting.
Yeah, I love it, and I really, really love the deck that TSM is running. I think it's super interesting and powerful, and we saw the success that SK Gaming had with this archetype against Liquid.
So the first minute almost down, and it's now TSM drawing first blood, splitting the Royal Hogs again, and you can see there's a splash damage answer on both sides.
Yep, you got the Valkyrie and the Baby Dragon. Now, the Baby Dragon isn't going to do due diligence the way that the Valkyrie is, however, still stopping those Royal Hogs.
And look, again, we talked about how long a Dark Goblin can stay on the board. That Dark Goblin doing enough to clear out defensively and push across the bridge, taking that right-hand tower down to 1437.
Yes, and we're also seeing this here with the Golem in the bottom lane, but they've also got the Balloon in hand. And with the Lava Hounds not being on the table, you still have a great tank to answer.
So we are seeing some Golem play here. Now the big question is, does the deck from Firewolf and Air Surfer have the answer for it? The Inferno Dragon doing some work, but from long range, it's the Electro Wizard taking it out of contention.
Yeah, the Electro Wizard, such a menace to that poor Inferno Dragon, just stopping it, basically making it useless, just kind of just flying at that point.
And you hate to see that as a Magic Archer player, just being one square away, one tile far from getting that extra damage on the tower.
Yeah, OJ says the power of geometry, and my friends, it is so impertinent when you're playing the Magic Archer.
Poison on the right-hand side, cleaning some stuff up. And this is where you might see some of what Firewolf and Air Surfer are doing here have value against that Golem. They have defensive answers, but having a win condition like Royal Hogs, they can put opposite lane pressure in a way that, even though we are in those waning moments of our regular time period, they can put opposite lane pressure in a way that might be more effective than you would have in 1v1.
Yeah, it's interesting here because this whole series of events that just happened is they didn't really defend the left tower to support the right tower. NRG didn't. They didn't really defend their left Princess Tower. Instead, they were trying to support their right tower Golem push. As you can see, though, TSM has this incredible deck that eats Golems in half. So that Golem didn't make it to the tower, and they got massive damage, now taking the lead here.
So, Andrew, the idea typically is that a Golem deck in double elixir time has the advantage. But now down at 686, do you think that's still the case here for NRG?
Honestly, I didn't think it had the advantage throughout this entire match just because of the deck that TSM is running. They've got a P.E.K.K.A, they've got a Tombstone, they've got Zappies, they've got a Lumberjack.
But can they stop this balloon?
That is a downhill push,
Will
man.
it get through? It gets one drop. That's going to be it. NRG sliding on through. And that, Andrew, as we've all felt over and over again, is the danger of playing against a balloon. Oh my gosh, no.
All I can do is tell you how upset I get when that balloon comes through and I cannot defend it. They were playing so well, and as you see right here is what a slight misplay. They didn't defend the tower, and they instead decided to support the Golem in the right-hand lane as I was talking about. That Golem gets eaten by the P.E.K.K.A in the Inferno Dragon. That tower gets destroyed by those Royal Hogs. However, it doesn't matter. We've all been there when a balloon sneaks through to your tower and you just don't have the answers. That Magic Archer going down with the Tombstone, perfect fireball, and my goodness, NRG claims that.
Oh,
wow.
That's so brutal. I wonder, Andrew, if they've been playing up against double Golem rather than Golem Balloon, if they might have had a better chance.
I truly believe so, because they wouldn't have had a balloon to sneak through to the tower, and that was just a tough loss for TSM. Great first set for NRG.
Yeah, NRG now out to the lead. I think that Andrew and I both had the same, very similar feeling when it comes to, oh, you went with the anger.
I'm
went with
angry.
the, yeah. Oh, boy. A balloon slides through at the end. You're playing pretty much perfect the entire way through. You feel like you have it done. Oh, that's so much, but you know what? It's not over yet. TSM has one of the best 1v1 players in their pocket. Up next, it's 1 versus 1.
I have a feeling in my bones. I can sense it in the air. We're about to see something really cool. The 1v1 showdown is here. Prashant PP and Vulcan. Rep your teams with pride in the arena.
And here we are, a very big moment. Vulcan, obviously no stranger to the CRL stage, but making his debut here in Clash Royale League, it is Prashant PP.
Yeah, Prashant PP, one of the few people that was able to get that special talent visa to come play esports here in the States, is very, very excited to make his debut for NRG. And of course, Vulcan, he's 7-4 overall in CRL. He is no slouch. Everyone knows this kid can bring the heat.
And the card bans here coming up. Royal Hogs banned by Vulcan and Prashant PP banning the Graveyard. Now, Andrew, I talked a little bit with NRG before this matchup, and they said this is a targeted ban because they feel like that's one of Vulcan's strongest win conditions.
Yeah, I mean, take what works off the table, and we'll see what he's going to bring instead. And also, Vulcan last week ran Royal Hogs in all of his decks, and this week he's banning them. So I'm really curious to see what these guys are going to bring to 1v1, and we're going to find out right now.
Team SoloMid's Vulcan at the top of your screen. NRG's Prashant PP making his CRL debut at the bottom. Andrew, I talked to him a little bit. He says he's feeling really good and confident. And while he's a Golem player, he plans on showing his versatility here on this CRL stage.
Yeah, you usually don't see Golem and Zappies together in the same deck. So maybe, just maybe, he's trying to keep his opponents guessing.
Now, Vulcan throwing the beginnings of what we've seen a lot. Now, typically we've seen that Hunter-Golem combination come out as part of that Royal Hog Three Musketeers deck. Of course, Royal Hog is banned. Now, we see the regular classic Hog Rider. Do you think it's possible or likely that Three Musketeers is being paired here with that?
It could be. You know, I wouldn't be super surprised. Yep, there
and
they
there
are.
we
you
go.
know, you got to have something to support them, something to throw down in front of them. However, that P.E.K.K.A. is really, truly a menace for Vulcan, whether it comes to the Hog or whether it comes to the Musketeers. As you can see, he's having to allocate so much elixir to defend against it.
You know, NRG banning the Graveyard, trying to kind of like do a ban hard counter to Vulcan's favorite win conditions. I was talking with him earlier. He was mentioning his idea of trying to be more versatile, and he was actually saying that he might be trying to run Three Musketeers here in this 1v1 set, and he's been doing his homework watching Team Nova's Legend out of CRL Asia, who's one of the best Three Musketeer players in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Legend is an incredible Three Musketeers player, so I can see exactly why he's following what he's doing. And it makes sense to put in the Hog instead of the Royal Hogs. It's a little bit cheaper, and it does essentially the same thing. It's obviously easier to counter, but I understand trying to keep the same general archetype.
So Prashant here showing a little bit of a P.E.K.K.A. E-Wiz bridge spam. While he is down pretty significantly on the right-hand side with a minute left, not quite out of this yet, although in double elixir time, those Three Musketeers must be coming down the way quite a lot now.
Yeah, but the thing is that Prashant should be saving his P.E.K.K.A. for that Hog every single time. And now I understand that Vulcan's got a quicker cycle, but if you play the P.E.K.K.A. on the Hog defensively, Vulcan is forced to defend with a lot more elixir. It seems surprising that he would just let the Hog get to the tower like that.
Now taken out with the Fireball Zap on the right-hand side, but very smart play from Vulcan, putting the double of the Three Musketeers on the side of his stronger tower than his weaker tower.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to just keep up the pressure, keep defending as best he can, and I mean, there's a chance that Prashant can take this tower, but I just really don't see him taking this this game.
This game is very challenging. Now, notice, interesting, we talked about how this deck that Vulcan's running is very similar to that Royal Hog Three Musketeers deck. But one note, the classic Hog does cost one less elixir. This does seem a little faster.
It's faster, but the problem is that it can't push dual lanes, and that's one of the greatest things about coupling the Royal Hogs with the Three Musketeers is you've got essentially like 6 elixir coming down each lane. It's much harder to defend. Maybe, just maybe, that deck archetype didn't really matter in this situation, though.
Prashant's first game in the books, not coming out quite the way he wanted it. It felt like, though, that about halfway through this game, he started to find his rhythm.
Yeah, which is It's just a little bit too late. Yeah, you need to keep that P.E.K.K.A for the hog, I think, every single time early on, especially in single elixir. You just got to play a little bit more conservatively. That way you're not caught in a situation where you've just got an Ice Spirit, an Electro Wizard, and a hog on your tower, and you've got nothing to defend. That's too much damage.
Now, for those of you who have not seen Prashant PP play before, he is no stranger to competitive Clash Royale. He has experience in CCGS ROW, which is the rest of the world region. A little dismissive, of course, that name, rest of the world, compared to regions like Asia, Latin America, North America, Europe. And he was saying before, he's here to prove that the players from that region do belong on the international stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in this 1v1 set, Vulcan of Team SoloMid doing his job early on, trying to send us to King of the Hill, but in his way, the 21-year-old Indian, Prashant PP, played competitive chess at the state level back home, and here in North America, he was the #3 qualifier in CRL.
Oh yeah, Rich, and he's also an engineer. Don't worry. The kid can do everything.
The guy has a variety of skills, and right here, getting ready to show a Night Witch and Prince.
Oh, that Mega Minion's going to miss. That was a misplay. I mean, he has to use the Tornado to make it effective. So now, essentially, he's played good defense, but he is at an elixir deficit. That was not how he wanted it to go.
Well, that's the challenging part, I think, of making your debut, not just in the full 1v1 set, but making it against a guy like Vulcan. You know, again, Prashant has competitive experience, but never on the big stage before. And just some of those one-tile misplays, we've seen now a couple of them, those can start to crop up when you're getting your feet under you.
Yeah, and Vulcan here has played 11 matches, so he is very, very comfortable on this stage.
So now there we see it, the Golem. So we're seeing a Golem NATO control with the Night Witch and Prince behind it.
Perfect placement on the Golem to make sure the Night Witch stays behind. Hopefully, just hopefully that Spark, nope, it got it.
That Sparky is so frustrating. And we're looking now, if we're looking at Prashant's deck, I don't see any real strong answers to that very frustrating. If we're talking about tanks, that's an actual tank full of electricity coming down the left-hand
Yeah, he's in a really precarious situation right now. He's going to drop a Prince probably on top of it, or I guess a Mega Minion, but the Prince would have targeted it, whereas the Mega Minion did not, and I think that was also a misplay. Now, your Prince may have eaten that shot, but it would have been able to take another one and not had the first Sparky shot connect to the Princess Tower.
So the idea, Andrew, we've talked about before, is that a Golem deck can take a lot of tower damage, but now with the whole tower down, you have to answer now the Sparky in the same lane as your Golem with 40 seconds left. Do you think there's any way out for Prashant PP?
I personally don't, because what's going to happen is Vulcan's going to play the Giant just like that. It's going to be a battle of tanks here where Prashant will probably actually take the win at the river here, but I don't think he's going to do enough damage on that tower to take the match home.
We haven't seen the fourth or the final card from Prashant PP, and there is no spell big enough to take this back. And it's Vulcan showing off his versatility, doing a deck we haven't seen from him before, making that banning Royal Hogs and then going 3 Musketeers with the classic Hog Rider to take that book from his study of Legend. And then on the other hand of it, we have only I think we've only seen 2 Sparky decks so far, including this one in CRL.
Giant Sparky decks are so incredibly frustrating to play against and powerful. If you make one misplay and that Sparky is safe behind the Giant, as you saw here, the game's gone.
Well, again,
it's out of hand.
We talked about it, Andrew. If you're looking at the board right now for Prashant PP, there are only 3 ground troops he has available, and all of them costing 4, 5, and 8 elixir, so no quick troop to absorb that huge Sparky damage. And that ended up kind of being the story of game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe he should have played a Prince in the moment where he played the Mega Minion. I still don't know if he would have saved the tower or not. Who knows? Like, the Prince maybe would have killed the Sparky, but the Giant would have been on the tower. Just a really tough place to be in. I just don't think he had the ground answers, as he said, to really put up a good fight against Vulcan.
Well, there is more fight left in this match. We're going to our 3rd and final set. It is King of the Hill. Each team nominates 3 players. Each player has just 1 life. The first team to eliminate all 3 players from the other side takes the set victory and takes the match victory and moves 1 step closer to our World Finals. And we're going to find out what their card bans will be, what their lineups will be, when we take a listen inside the War Room.
We find ourselves in King of the Hill for the 3rd time in a row.
3 in a row, baby.
This time we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to start with our Italian style.
Let's go, baby.
Second, Busby,
AKA Hazard. Let's go.
Hazard,
Hazard.
and 3, the guy that has kind of been carrying us
Clutched
here
up,
a little
dog.
bit towards the end, you know. I'm feeling good. I like our lineup. We know what we're gonna use. We're feeling ready. Just go out there and play the game, you know. Been playing this game for a while. Just trust yourself. Don't overcommit. Get the flow. You guys know how to play this game.
Yeah, we do.
NRG on 3. 1, 2, 3. NRG.
So I'm going to tell you guys our lineup today. First up, well, first of all, we are Team TSM, Team SoloMid. We want to ban Tornado. And I go with NATO for short because too lazy to write the long version. And first up, we're going to have Air Surfer, Air for short, Firewolf, Fire for short, and finally we have me closing, Vulcan. So let's get this. We know the bans. We got our deck repairs. We've been preparing for this. I think we're one of the best 1v1 teams, so we got this. TSM on 3. 1, 2, 3. TSM!
Oof, the intensity in the air is so thick you could cut it with a knife. I mean, it's getting hot in here. Team SoloMid and NRG have pushed and defended to a tie. Now, King of the Hill will settle it.
The final set of this match between NRG and Team SoloMid. It is King of the Hill. The first team to 3 takes the entire thing. And starting off for NRG is Guanic.
Yeah, Guanic going up against Air Surfer. It's interesting here because Air Surfer and Firewolf haven't had a lot of success in King of the Hill, whereas Vulcan has had a great little run. And on the other side of that, you look, Guanic opening up, hasn't found a first King of the Hill victory yet. Let's see if he can get the first one right now.
And of course, 2 players starting off who both have archetypes they love. We see Tornado banned from both sides. Very interesting. Guanic, of course, known as the Hog Freeze God. That is his go-to deck. Across from Air Surfer, who, much like his teammate Firewolf, both of them are known as Expo specialists.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I think the bans actually aren't going to play too much into the game other than taking that Hog pull to King Tower, which will be nice for Guanic to get that out of the way. So let's find out how this is going to shake down in game number 1.
Let's go, baby.
And we are off. TSM's Air Surfer at the top of your screen. NRG's Guanic at the bottom.
Yeah, and NRG is coming off of a strong King of the Hill win over Tribe.
Yeah, that performance by Carter was fantastic. Of course, now you see Carter once again in the closer role if we get that far here in King of the Hill. And it is Guanic with the Hog Rider out. Might we be seeing that Hog Freeze?
I think we might be seeing at least the Hog Rider Mini P.E.K.K.A. Princess deck. I don't know about a freeze or not. At tournament standard, it's not quite as strong. But it's exactly what we were talking about with that Tornado being out of play. He can send that Hog Rider down as many times as you want without having to worry about the King Tower.
Although we do also have a nice answer there in the Tombstone to pull that Hog Rider. And you see another pretty inexpensive answer as well, not as effective in those guards.
Yeah, guards are really great. They just do so much damage. Having the shield there obviously keeps them alive a little bit longer, but also a really nice response to the Hog.
First minute down and pretty close to even, though Air Surfer out to a slight lead. And now we see the Miner in the back, picked up nicely by the Mini P.E.K.K.A.
Yeah, interesting deck here from Air Surfer. Let's see how it matches up against Guanic's Hog deck.
So the Mini P.E.K.K.A. now will get picked up by a very inexpensive option, of course, in those guards, a 3 trade for 4. So Air Surfer doing a good job of making choices based on Elixir.
Yeah, and that Miner for him is going to be his best source of damage as of right now. He's probably got another win condition in his deck, but the most important thing for Air Surfer right now is to keep that Tombstone in cycle for the Hog specifically.
So a fairly inexpensive cycle we've seen so far for Air Surfer at 11. But if you look at Guanic now, much, much faster. He can get that all the way around the horn in just 8 to get that Royal Hog back on the board.
Yeah, and one of these plays that we've seen that has been really effective is sending in the Mini P.E.K.K.A. naked down a lane with either an Ice Spirit, or so I guess he's not, with an Ice Spirit or an Ice Golem. It's like a very cheap push that is very hard to stop.
Well, also difficult to stop here is going to be this Lava Hound, followed by the Inferno Dragon, picked up by the Ice Spirit, just barely taps on the tower. Not significant damage, but Air Surfer now showing what he's planning on doing here in this King of the Hill game.
I love this kind of off-meta minor Lava Hound control deck, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know the name for it, but essentially, again, it's all about the Lava Hound comes down the lane. It pops, and before it pops, you send in the miner tank for all the lava pups. And then you've also got this great mini tech P.E.K.K.A to respond to ground units.
So as we move into sudden death overtime on the back of the Hog Rider, it is Guanic riding that hopefully to victory, but so far Air Surfer doing a good job keeping pace with this fast cycle.
Yeah, and he gave him great fireball value right there, throwing in the minions. I understand he was trying to think of a way to protect the Hog, get rid of the tombstone, get the Hog on the tower, but he ended up just giving Air Surfer great spell value.
But now look at how fast we are getting to that second princess down. And once those princesses start to stack up, that can be very frustrating to penetrate.
Yeah, it was interesting that Air Surfer didn't send his miner on top of the princess and he just decided, or he opted to zap it instead. You saw that Guanic defended the princess with his mini P.E.K.K.A, but that made it so the miner was able to get on the tower.
So we are 30 seconds into sudden death overtime, and now you see the miner picking up the princess. So things are very, very close here. And the question is, does he have, yes, once again, so Air Surfer doing a great job keeping up pace.
Yeah, he recognizes that the only way that he's going to lose this match is if that tombstone is completely out of cycle and he doesn't have anything to defend. Because the most hits that a Hog's going to get when you play in a tombstone is 1, ideally, if you play decent defense. So 1 or 0, and that's really all he can afford.
Now here's the question at this point, though. He is getting all these things down, but with all that he has to spend to keep up with the Hog Rider, can Air Surfer mount a really effective offense?
I don't know about a really effective offense, because what he does want to do, like I said before, is get the Lava Hound down the lane to get a miner underneath it after it pops. And right now, he's literally just spending all of his elixir on defending, and he's not defending 100%. So this looks like Guanic is going to take game number 1 at King of the Hill.
Guanic being very smart here. Notice that he's put all of the play here in the left-hand lane. Remember, if we do go to the end of our overtime, there are no ties in King of the Hill. It is lowest tower. Now, he knows his right-hand tower is down to 1071, so he knows not to give a chance. And there we go. The lightning takes it out. No need to talk about lowest tower. Guanic gets there on the back of the Hog Rider. That is GG's. He takes the victory in the first game.
Yeah, hiding that lightning the entire match and then using it to just do work, the coup de grace. It was all he needed. You send that in, you get the lightning, get rid of the tombstone, get rid of the defensive troops. Hog Rider makes it to the tower, and that, as he knew, was game over for Air Surfer.
Interesting, such a large spell. You know, typically when you're playing a Hog Rider deck, especially one that's going on a fast cycle, you think of a faster spell to cycle through there, get in on top, but sitting back on that lightning, as you said, a hidden lightning, kind of a genius deck creation here.
Yeah, I mean, when the lightning got its first buff, we saw it in almost every single Hog Rider deck, and now we've seen it make its resurgence in this deck where I think it was perfect.
Let's go to game number 2. Up next, Firewolf. Firewolf, a slightly unheralded player from Canada, although he does have some great ladder finishes. He's hit number 1 and finished the seasons at 5th, 8th, and 21st.
That is unbelievable to me, the amount of work you have to do to stay in that top 50, 100, 2,000, honestly. And Guanic finally getting his first King of the Hill game in the books probably feels pretty great.
Now, Firewolf here is up against Guanic, who we've mentioned before, I'll mention it again, who is the 3-time #1 ladder player in the world. So while Firewolf has some fantastic credentials, the guy across from him, the Italian, definitely has some that might be even a little bit more impressive.
Yeah, that's incredible. That Hog Freeze deck is just so powerful in ladder, and I can't even imagine finishing first in the world even once.
And now we're seeing Hog Rider in return, and just as he gets rid of that tombstone, it comes back up. Nice pickup here from the Italian.
Yeah, great use of the Ice Spirit to stop it there, redirect. Skeletons do work. Great defense.
While Guanic has not allowed Firewolf to break through, he also hasn't gotten significant offensive down by himself either.
Yeah, and if Firewolf uses that Ice Spirit every time to retarget the miner or to freeze the miner and then drop a mini P.E.K.K.A right next to it, that's going to be his best way to defend all or mitigate all of the offense from the miner.
So Guanic just cycling through 2 very, very fast decks here. Firewolf has a 7 elixir cycle between the Bats, Log, Ice Golem, and Ice Spirit, but Guanic not that slow himself at 8.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the rest of cards in Guanic's deck are.
Interesting placement there of the miner. You know, since we don't have Tornado in, why not start varying and going to some of those other key spots on the tower?
I think that's a really great question, Rich. You had the Ice Golem on one side. I would have sent it in right behind the Ice Golem. For some reason, opponents don't expect you to do that as much, and as the miner is behind the Ice Golem, it'll walk right past it and get all the hits on the tower.
Really nice pickup there of the Princess, using the poison at the very end of its range. And we are now into double elixir time. And it is Guanic with a slight lead, and there we go, some varied miner play.
Yep, and if you have poison in your deck and the Princess is near the tower that you've been attacking, you want to poison that 10 times out of 10. Now, Princess might cost 3 and poison costs 4, however, you're getting tower damage.
And here we see the Inferno Dragon getting the crossover, still has not made a tower lock yet, but it's unimportant between the poison and the miner. Really strong work so far by Guanic as we move into our sudden death overtime.
So here's a couple things I wanted to talk about is the fact that Guanic is in a really tough place. Firewolf is really, Firewolf is in a really tough place. Guanic is going to be really happy to do that exchange over and over and over. Miner to the tower, defend with the Tombstone, win the game with poisons, whereas Firewolf is in a really tough position because he does not want to push the same lane that Guanic is pushing as a Hog Rider player. So Guanic knows he can just place the Tombstone off to the right a little bit and defend every single time.
And that's really tough there. You saw the log taking out the Tombstone, but then you, of course, have the Goblin Gang there to pick up that Hog Rider.
Yes, and this is what I'm talking about. You got the Tombstone off to the right a little bit, so you've got the Skeletons coming down the lane supporting your Miner, whereas it's still... Oh, he misplayed it. It's too far over to the right to pick up the Hog Rider. Slight misplay. I was going to say it seemed a little low, but he was still able to clean it up with that Inferno Dragon.
Yeah, only one hit from that Hog Rider. We are now 1 minute almost deep into our sudden death overtime. It is still Guanic in control, although Firewolf starting to battle back quite nicely.
Yeah, and I understand using the poison right there, playing good defense, trying to get spell value. A little surprised that he committed that much to defending and attacking that tower, Guanic, but, you know, he's still in the lead.
And here we go, one more miner. Nice pickup there with the Ice Spirit and the Ice Golem. And now we see, can he get the Hog Rider? And a predictive log does not hit its mark. Unfortunate there, but he will get one swing. Will he get a second one? Now things are starting to get interesting here. Even with that Hog misplay, Firewolf really in this thing.
Yeah, there's a couple things I'm surprised about. I'm surprised that Guanic allowed that Hog to get to the tower, but I'm also surprised that Firewolf pre-logged the center instead of the middle.
What about this? What about that on the left-hand side? No real answer. Did not have the Ice Spirit in cycle, I guess. No way to reset. And that's some huge damage on the left-hand lane.
Yeah, and that honestly puts Guanic back in an incredible position, obviously because of the damage, but now he's going into the Hog Rider, pushing his weaker tower. This is a horrible position for Firewolf to be in. It's way too late in the game to switch towers. This is going to be an L, unfortunately, for TSM.
We have seen crazier things happen here at CRL, folks, but are they likely? That's why we call them crazy. But we get one swing. We could get a second. You know, you got to wonder, though, at this point, what answers does he have for the aggressive offense of Guanic? And there goes the Mire. But a nice pickup. Look, we are now within one poison range of finishing this thing. But anything could happen in these last seconds. It's all about what does this Hog Rider do in this very moment. Can it get a couple of swings on that left-hand tower?
Wow,
it's going to get one. Will it get a second one? Oh my gosh, we are right there. We are just one spell away. And the rocket comes out here at the end. It's Firewolf stealing this thing at the last second. Oh my God, you see the look of relief. Guanic cannot believe what just happened. And it is Firewolf pulling it out from the very last second. Wow, that is what King of the Hill is all about.
I have never been more okay with being wrong and calling a match. That was incredible by Firewolf. Never losing his cool, never giving up on the game. This is what CRL is all about. It didn't seem like he had the matchup. It didn't seem like he had the answers, but wow.
This seemed like it was it, Andrew.
Yes, this was like insult to injury, getting that Inferno Dragon on the tower. Guanic did, but man, just man, did he get outplayed at the end. That was phenomenal.
You know, he's just trying to hold on here, and he's out of log range, so he has to get a poison down on it, and he can't do it, and now he's just hoping. But we didn't see that rocket until the very, very end. Fantastic play by the Canadian Firewolf. And now it's all evened up here.
Yeah.
It is anyone's King of the Hill. But up next, across from him, one of the more dangerous players here on NRG's roster, it is Hazard.
Yes, Hazard had an incredible match last time. Now, he got swept, or excuse me, he swept the 2v2, and then he went back and beat B-Rad in King of the Hill, but lost to Joao, whereas Carter brought it home for their team. And let's see if they can, do it again right here in this King of the Hill.
Firewolf once more at the top of your screen, feeling comfortable and happy up there at the bottom. Hazard, wow. Just one of those games you did not see coming, but he still has two pretty dangerous guys in front of him.
I'm still like trying to rack my brain about what I just saw. Incredible plays from both those guys up there. Unfortunately for Guanic, Firewolf was able to just edge him out. 184 HP difference, I believe.
And so now we have the battle of the beatdowns. It is Golem versus Giant.
Yeah, now going down the exact same lane, you think immediately that the Golem has the advantage, and I think Firewolf recognizes that. He's playing the Prince far back, not to support his Giant, but to stop this Golem.
So the Golem gets a crossover, and now it's going to be
This
Prince
is a rough
on
place
Prince.
to be in.
Yeah, so much support coming down behind that Golem. A lot of trouble here. Firewolf is in danger of losing a tower very, very early.
Yeah, and just a lot of really unfortunate interactions there. It wasn't even misplays by Firewolf other than the beginning. Maybe he committed a little bit too much with that Giant. But the way that he cleaned up the troops behind the Golem did not go the way he needed it to. And this is a really, really bad position for him to be in because no matter where Firewolf pushes, Hazard's just going to respond with the Golem in the same lane.
Yeah, Golem can pick up a lot of that damage. So now as we get 20 seconds away from double elixir time, it looks like magic might not strike twice. Of course, anything can happen. But as you say, Andrew, it looks like Hazard has a lot of those responses in his hand.
Yeah, Hazard's got a great deck here. He's just a little too far behind. And Firewolf, Firewolf has a great deck here, but he's just a little too far behind. Hazard easily in the driver's seat, probably going to take this. He might drop a Golem in the pocket. He doesn't really need to.
So frustrating when you fall behind like this early and you're kind of figuring out like what options do I have. Although now he is developing a push, but there's so much elixir on Hazard's side. Can he really find a way through? It looks like there's going to be plenty of defensive options.
Yeah, this is exactly what you're talking about. It's very disheartening to finally, you have a really rough start, but then you create a great push, and you think, this game could have went one way or the other, but unfortunately with the misplays in the beginning, it's just too much to come back from when you're running very, very similar deck archetypes.
Well, it's a question there of whether that Giant push was a misplay or merely an overcommittal, not knowing he was against Golem yet.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of an overcommittal. I think you really want to wait and kind of figure out your opponent's hand before you just throw down your win condition like that.
And now he will get to the tower, but it's not going to be enough. Firewolf, put on a fantastic show in that win over Guanic. Runs up against a brick wall here in Hazard, the more experienced competitive player. And also, you're talking about Giant versus Golem. You have the bigger tank versus the smaller tank.
Yeah, yep, and we've heard it many times before. If you're a Giant player and a Golem's coming down one lane, ideally you should want to push the other lane to create a counter push, especially because your Giant costs almost, half the price of that of a Golem. But as you see here, all of his units are getting picked up. All of Firewolf's troops that are used to defend are getting picked off and cleaned up. Really great play by Hazard there and supporting his Golem. And now let's see if Vulcan can do it, who has been known as their best head-to-head player for Team SoloMid.
Well, I think Firewolf did his job here. He went in there and got a win. Vulcan isn't in a position where he has to do a full sweep now. He only needs 2 wins, and he is very capable, considered one of the best players here in all of CRL. Of course, Hazard and Carter not easy at all, so let's see what he can do here in this 3rd game of King of the Hill. Sorry, 4th game.
Yes, 4th.
So a little interesting note that Vulcan was talking about before this match today. We saw him struggle a bit in their last match against Royal. He lost in 3 games in 1v1 there. And he admitted that it was the balance update, but not that the balance update was the balance update's fault, that he didn't quite practice enough with the new decks, given that update, and was caught a little bit off balance.
And that's completely understandable. Look at how little the Valkyrie's been used since the balance update. Let's say you're running a Valkyrie deck, you have no idea that it's dropped off essentially the face of the earth here in CRL. You show up, you play it, and you get rocked because you didn't adjust to the balance changes. Now, we've talked about how much point 2 can change something, how much half a tile can change something, and truly Vulcan understands that now.
So Vulcan did play Magic Archer and Royal Hogs in all 3 games against Immortals Royal. And here we're seeing NRG's Hazard, who we might be seeing here minor P.E.K.K.A. Poison. We saw it before from him. He did get a loss when he ran it last time, but maybe he's feeling more confident this time around.
Yeah, and we've got this this minor balloon deck over here from Vulcan. Also an interesting archetype, and Hazard knows he didn't have anything to defend it. Electro Wizard was out of cycle. He probably doesn't have a building, and this is not good. That minor, you can completely ignore the minor and take 500 damage. Obviously, you don't need to, but that is not the same as losing a tower this early.
So on the right-hand side, the tower falls fairly early for Hazard. Vulcan once again showing why he is one of the best in the world, top 100 on the ladder. 8th at the Crown Championship Global Series Invitational in 2017. A very talented player. Here making a statement, can he take out both these players at once? And there you see the P.E.K.K.A. And we're in a situation where if you look at Vulcan's deck, the P.E.K.K.A. isn't really an answer for many of these things.
No, and if I'm playing P.E.K.K.A. and I see that my opponent has a Tombstone, I'm like so angry just immediately because the Tombstone is such an incredible counter to the P.E.K.K.A. and it's so cheap.
Tombstone, one of my favorite buildings to play, and now you see coupled with the Ice Golem just kiting that P.E.K.K.A. across. You know, I'd be surprised if we see the P.E.K.K.A. really have any impact on this game.
Yeah, as Sir Tag, one of the professional players out there, says, pass the P.E.K.K.A., that's exactly what the Ice Golem is going to do in this deck. There is no way that Hazard gets a P.E.K.K.A. to the tower unless Vulcan makes a misplay.
So here with 25 seconds left, it is Hazard trying to make a play on that tower, but we do have the pickup using the Tombstone in the back, and now it looks like it's kind of a done deal here. Not going to get enough, although this Royal Ghost is going to get a couple of hits. Can it swing to take that left-hand tower down? But at the same time, you have the balloon.
Yeah.
So we get a bit of a tower trade on the left-hand side, but it's too little, too late with the right-hand tower down. It is Vulcan roaring back here, and now we have a gargantuan matchup. 2 players who have shown that when the chips are down, they can do anything.
Yeah, Carter and Vulcan are what is left now, and this is the very first time you see Hazard knowing, man, he throws up the cry face, he knows he's going to lose a tower, he sends in the miner to the opposite tower to create pressure, but honestly, it's just not really that much pressure when you lose when you take a tower that early on.
Well, it's got to be so frustrating, too. Maybe he didn't put him on balloon, potentially, because he did have between the whatchamacallit, the
Electro Wizard?
The Electro Wizard, yes, sorry about there. And the Mega Minion had an answer, had a way he could play against that balloon, but just wasn't prepared to see it come down the lane.
Yeah, Vulcan did such a great job of recognizing his best counters to his cards, waiting till they were out of cycle, and then taking advantage of that. And now we're in a very interesting place. Carter coming off huge King of the Hill wins over Oxlet and King Joao. And then on the other side of that, you got Vulcan, the 1v1 specialist for TSM, trying to bring it home, trying to bounce back from that last loss.
It all comes down to this. Will it be TSM or NRG taking the match right here, right now? If you had 3 minutes to decide your fate, Andrew, what would you do here?
Oh, man, I don't know. I'm so excited to see what decks these guys run. Who's going to come out on top? We immediately see the Hog Rider. Are we going to see a Tombstone? Nope, we see a Hunter.
So Hog Rider going to get a couple swings on that left-hand tower. And now we're seeing Hog Rider versus Royal Hogs. Might we see that Royal Hog 3 Musketeers deck here again?
Great use of splitting just 1 to the left side since it already had a great amount of support.
Yeah, you had that Hunter there, able to pick up a lot of that. So again, we see that 3-1 split. Not used a lot here at CRL, but when it has been used, it's been used to a lot of efficacy.
Yeah, it's crazy how much utility and what different ways Royal Hogs can be played. They really are becoming one of my absolute favorite cards, and I'm pretty sure here at CRL they are one of the most used cards by a mile.
Now, interesting, we're seeing the Vulcan running that same variation that he ran in the 1v1 of the 3 Musketeers deck with the Hog Rider rather than Royal Hogs.
Yeah, so these decks are going to be very, very similar, and this is going to answer the question, is it better to have Royal Hogs, have more units that cost 1 more elixir, or is it better to have a cheaper unit, 1 less elixir that does more damage, but he's all by himself?
So we're almost in sort of like, it's not quite a mirror match, it's like an alternate universe match.
Yes, exactly, and it's going to be really great for everyone watching and us here to decide right now which one's the better deck, because you know these guys aren't going to make many mistakes, if any.
I was talking talking to NRG's coach before the match, asking what's the secret to Carter. He's been playing so well. And he responded, there's no secret. He's just a beast.
I like that. You know what? If you got it, you got it. And they are going to recognize.
Now, one big value, though, for Carter coming off of the North American Combine is competitively he is a slightly lesser-known player, more of a mysterious quantity. So it is a little bit harder for people to prepare for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. I mean, that's one of the things about being the top players in the world is everyone's watched you play. Everyone knows your deck archetype. Everyone knows what your strengths are and your weaknesses are. So I think it's a better advantage to come into CRL not being one of the most famous players in the world.
And now the Hog Rider on the left-hand side. Vulcan trying to even things up, but the Valkyrie making a somewhat rare appearance here in the last 2 weeks.
One really interesting aspect about this matchup is the fact that both players are running Three Musketeers. It allows you, as an opponent, to gauge when your opponent has max elixir.
Woo, take a look for a second how long those Three Musketeers stayed together to target those Royal Hogs. Perfect play there, follow up with the Fireball, kind of wiping those Musketeers mostly off the board.
Yeah, nothing feels better than hitting all Three Musketeers with a spell, and he's done a great job of it.
Well, so far, it's Carter out to the advantage. If we're doing Hog Rider versus Royal Hogs, it seems like the group of four taking the day so far. We are moving into sudden death overtime. So now all it's going to take, and there's another reverse Fireball getting all Three Musketeers. It's just going to take one tower, folks. As soon as someone drops it, that's going to be not just game, not just set, but the entire match.
Yeah, and with neither of these guys having a building to draw in the other person's win condition, it is really just Hog Rider against Royal Hogs.
It's all about the firepower, who can load it up the most. And this Hog Rider will get one, does not quite get two, but the Fireball backing it up. And now things are getting real close here on the right-hand side.
And that was actually a really smart play of Carter by playing the Valkyrie a little farther back. You'd think you'd want to play it right in the middle of all the troops to do the most amount of damage. However, if he would have played it there, it wouldn't have stayed on the Hog Rider, which is the most important unit to get out of here.
Now, what do you think about Vulcan playing his Fireball offensively as opposed to using it with two defensive targets?
I mean, I know he's trying to wrap up the game here, but it could end up being a mistake because that Fireball's going to take his Hunter out. And yep, that's it.
It's getting on there. No, Carter saves it for the last second. So
but
now
here
we are. The Fireball is somewhere in Vulcan's hand. Can he cycle it back quickly enough? Or can Carter get to the tower? Does he have a way to stop this Hog Rider? This is going to be it. We're holding on. Who is going to get it? They blocked. Who's going to get this final swing? And that is it. It's the Ice Golem.
Wow.
What?
Barely.
I'm right. That was the Ice Golem that got the hit, wasn't it? I couldn't even see.
Yeah, I think it was the Hog. I honestly don't know, but that was so close. It looked like it wasn't even going to make it through to hit the tower and that the Royal Hogs were going to pull it off. But, wow.
Oh my God. Let's look at that finish one more time because I really think that it might have been. Let's take a look here. So we get it all the way down with the, there we go.
The Ice Golem goes off.
It's the Ice Golem.
And it blows up.
The Ice Golem explosion. Wow.
Great
that
eyes
is so
there,
wild.
Great eyes on the Ice Golem.
That is so crazy.
That was amazing.
That gets, I'm gonna give it that because all you can do in that situation is laugh.
Yeah.
Like how else do you handle a moment like that?
Unbelievably well played.
When's the last time you saw a tower taken down by an Ice Golem death?
In the last seconds of overtime. And here at CRL, guys, anything can happen on any given day. TSM bouncing back from their loss against Immortals and taking the match over NRG, who just beat Tribe.
Carter versus Vulcan. Vulcan coming out on top this time. They will meet again at some point in the season. You're going to bet Carter wants that back. And now here's the question: is the referendum on Hog Rider versus Royal Hogs over?
I don't know, man. It was just so freaking close. I don't know if the units were in the way. I can't say whether it's one way or the other. All I can say is that was an incredible match. Thank you, Carter. Thank you, Vulcan. And NRG, better luck next time, brother.
NRG and TSM both bringing it, giving us an unbelievable show. But in the end, there's only one winner, and standing by is one of the best players in the world. Christy St. John talking to today's hero, Vulcan.
Thanks, guys. Woo, Vulcan, that last game, so close, a mirror matchup almost. Tell me about it.
I mean, yeah, that was really insane. I'm not even sure who has the matchup advantage, to be honest. I noticed that I tried to play that matchup passively. Usually I try to play it passively, but then towards the end of the match, I noticed that I was losing, so I just started going really aggressive. I knew that either if I kept playing passively, I was going to lose, so I started going aggressive, and I managed to get the win.
Nice, so you switched up your tactics mid-game and got it at that last second. Tell me, did you think you were going to lose?
I don't know. I was like, I know I can pull out the clutch. I don't have any problem being under pressure. And I just tried to keep my cool. And I wasn't like, yes, I'm going to win. I was giving it a 50-50 shot, and I was giving it my best effort.
Your best effort, certainly enough. Congrats on taking home the win. Thank you so much for talking to me. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. I mean, your best effort, definitely good enough there, Vulcan, pulling out an unbelievable photo finish. I mean, might have been a half second away from losing that thing, and here he goes pulling it off.
He's so calm and cool. He's like, I tried to keep my cool. Yeah, you clearly did. My hands shake more in my classic challenges. Like, that was absolutely insane. Vulcan just killing it.
Feeling even cooler now as TSM moves up the standings here in North America, taking the victory, moving to 2-2. Now putting them all the way up in 4th place for the moment in that bubble area for the playoffs. NRG down to 2-4, of course. Just 2 wins away from being even, and with the way the season has gone so far, it feels like an even record might be enough to slide into the playoffs.
Yeah, despite only playing 4 matches, they're in a great place. They're 2-2. They have nowhere to go but up, honestly, especially with this win. I am really excited to see the future of TSM in this season of CRL.
Of course, we have somewhere to go, and that is to our second match of the day. Very exciting with a lot of veterans on both teams. We have Counter Logic Gaming coming up against Tribe.
3, 2, 1. Ring the bell! It's time for another CRL main event. Counter Logic Gaming and Tribe Gaming are tied in the middle of the standings. Will Dab Master Dance God J Monty deliver for Tribe, or will CLG's Young Gun Skills continue to make his name in the arena? Oh, it's on!
It's on indeed, King. The second match today in North America about to get underway. And if you thought the first one today was a barn burner, get ready for what's up next. We have Tribe Gaming against CLG.
Yeah, these teams are ready for battle, both looking to bounce back after a rough last match. We got CLG in the blue, we got Backstab Skills, Laddie and Geo, and then, of course, Tribe Gaming, one of the most famous teams in all the world with J Monty, B-Rad, Oxlet, and King Joao, kind of feeling the pressure of their names over their performance here at CRL.
Both teams totally have stacked lineups of players that if you follow competitive Clash, you've seen a lot of these guys before. The big question is, can they live up to those names? They want to answer that right here, right now. And one of those big names, the 1v1 specialist for Tribe Gaming, is standing by. Christy has B-Rad.
Thanks, guys. B-Rad, the last time you were here, I asked you how you strategize when Miner is expected. You said you switched up decks, and then you swept the 1v1 with Miner Poison Control twice. Mind games. So what are we going to expect today?
Well, today, I have to have minor mind games on the field and off the field, so you never know. I'm not going to reveal anything today.
So are you going to play Miner?
Maybe. You never know.
I feel how frustrating it is to not know what your opponent's going to do. Now, of course, while they are studying you, you are also studying your opponent. Have you seen anything in CLG that you might want to watch out for?
Yeah, I've seen a few weaknesses that I want to exploit today, I think. Yep.
You're not going to tell me those either.
No. They might be listening, so just got to be more cautious, right?
Yes. A very frustrating player to play against, I am sure. Thanks, B-Rad. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. You might be tuning in regularly now for the Miner Mondays that B-Rad's been running, a big fan favorite for him. And of course, no one knows what's coming up next. What are the card bands going to be? What are the lineups going to be? But we can learn when we take a look inside the war room.
All right, boys. Tribe Gaming.
Tribe Gaming.
Ex-team, Geo. Oh, man.
Your former team. Also an esports organization. Also plays a lot of games, just like you guys. But you know what? I'm proud of the way we play games. I'm proud of the way that we esport. And I think we're going to esport better today, all right, boys? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, CLG!
Yo.
Are you excited, bro?
Okay, guys. This has been rough. First 3 weeks, 2 and 3, we didn't expect this. You know you're good. You already know you're probably the best players here. let's roll this out and try to like move the score. You need to remember why are we here, why we're here, why we play the game. We want to have fun, we want to win. Let's combine those things and try our best. Okay? Try win, 3, 2, 1. Go.
Got it.
3, 2, 1, try win! The war rooms are done. So let the chat light up. It's game time. Who will put forth the GG in this epic 2v2 battle? CLG and Tribe, send your teams down the tunnel!
It is time for the first set, 2v2. And Tribe Gaming sticking with what they know. Oxalate and Jay Monty, two great teammates. But across from them, a little shakeup here. It's Skills making his 2v2 debut.
Yeah, Skills and Geo, the new 2v2 pair. Skills replacing Backstab. Backstab and Geo had been working together for so long. And as you said, on the other side, we got Jay Monty and Oxalate for Tribe Gaming. These guys have played about 5 matches together in 2v2. Every single match for Tribe has been played by them, and they're 3-2. So let's see if they can turn that into a 2-for-1 ratio.
Our card bans, and again, now we're on a bit of a streak here. Lava Hound making yet another appearance, being banned in 2v2. Poison, no surprise there, as we get one more time into this 4-person set.
Yeah, I think what we're starting to see is, now the balloon is actually beginning to work very well with the golem here in 2v2, but we all know the bread and butter is Lava Loon, so getting that Lava Hound off the table seems to be the best plan.
2v2 coming up right now.
Let's go, boys.
Let's go, boys. We got this. Let's go.
And CLG's Skills and Geo at the bottom of your screen. Tribes, Jay Monty and Oxalate at the top. Andrew, the word of the day from both teams about 2v2 seems to be communication. CLG's Skills telling me that that's his biggest concern, the biggest challenge getting into this. And an interesting note from Tribe's coach that they say that King Joao would be part of their 2v2 sets were it not for his still developing skills in English.
Wow, that's interesting. You got to think about all the other factors that come into play here at CRL that you and I don't usually talk about, or most people at home aren't aware of. And language barriers is a very, very real thing here.
You know, making a team of international players with King Joao, who is, of course, a fantastic player. But, you know, when you're Tribe, you got to still feel pretty good by having Jay Monty and Oxalate, two of the best in North America, two of the best of the world, paired up together.
Yeah, one of the things you talk about, though, being the best in the world, you wonder how heavy the crown lies. Heavy lies the crown, as they say. Knowing that Oxalate, Jay Monty, B-Rad, these guys are such famous players, when you're not performing to your potential, you wonder what that does for your confidence as one of them.
Well, their coach was saying that he feels like pressure played a role in that NRG loss, that they really were kind of shocked, kind of struggling there. You know, with a younger team like NRG that doesn't have as much of a name already, feels like the stakes are not quite as high for them as it is for guys who have such huge followings like Oxalate and Jay Monty.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Rich. And this is one of the great things that we haven't seen a lot of, is using that tornado to pull the golem to your king tower. Now, obviously, it's not something you can do every single time, but getting that extra damage is so imperative in this matchup, and getting it activated early is even more important.
Well, we have seen Tornado banned a lot in 2v2 for CRL. And one of the reasons is even when you're not playing traditional activation cards like a barrel or a miner or a hog, because you have that wider king tower, it is much easier to activate.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very impressive when you see the pros activating that king tower with a snowball or a fireball. It's one of the best things about watching pros is you learn mechanics about the game that you, as an amateur, would never think of.
We are now in double elixir time and still pretty close on the right-hand side. Another push developing here. We haven't seen Giant Skeleton as much as of late in 2v2, but now it's making an appearance on both sides of the river.
I believe this tombstone will pull the golem, but the Giant Skeleton will, well, I was going to say it'll be distracted by the Ice Wizard, but I don't think it's even going to make it across the river.
Now, interesting question here, Andrew. That might be the perfect tombstone placement. Would it have pulled the golem were it not for the Giant Skeleton pushing it over one tile?
Yes, it still would have pulled the golem. Yeah, it was a great placement by them, and this golem push, though, is still coming down pretty heavy.
Yeah, really hard to take this thing off the board, and now looks like it will finally make it to tower. So we're going to get some damage here on the right-hand side. As we enter into sudden death overtime, it is now CLG, Skills, and Geo who are defending with their backs against the wall.
Yeah, they spent just a little bit more elixir on that defense than they would have liked to. However, with that lightning and the miner, it might not matter.
You know, and now looking like we are getting into spell cycle range, and that's the real danger. But we do see a graveyard. If it can just get enough on the tower before, but now down to 30, that's going to be it. Game number 1. Skills and Geo. Skills making his 2v2 debut in fantastic fashion.
Yeah, bouncing back, and you saw him spamming that fireball, clicking as many times as he could, waiting for the elixir. Really great play by him. And this is where it all starts to go just right. I mean, it's already been a great match, but the fireball on top of that with the miner, it just seems like it's not enough defense. It's not enough to stop it. They do not have the resources because all of it is running down the lane, and they're just too late.
Now, interesting, you saw the attempt with that log on that replay to take the miner off of the tower and onto the king tower and maybe save a little bit of damage, but of course with the fireball coming down would not have made a difference. And now Tribe Gaming's J Monty and Oxlet finding themselves one loss away from giving up this 2v2 set. And the big question here is, can they turn things around and set up B-Rad to go into 1v1 with the advantage?
Let's see. You have NATO too.
If they miner,
yeah, just tombstone.
And both teams taking it a little bit slower here for the opening. We have gone back to some more of that heavy play that we didn't see as much of in our first 2v2 set today.
Yeah, and I feel like Tombstone's been used in 90% of the decks we've seen today, NA and EU. It's such a powerful, cheap card to stop a tank right in its tracks.
Now, interesting play with that log. Do you think that log was meant to deal with that tombstone as well?
I'm not sure what that log was. It felt like a little, I don't know what they were going for there, but I do know what that lightning was going for, and it was excellent.
So now CLG Skills and Geo out to an early lead on that left-hand tower, and now developing a push behind the giant skeleton with the cannon cart in support is Oxlet and J Monty.
And that giant skeleton coming down right on top. Interesting here seeing the Royal Giant coming through. It's definitely going to get a few shots off. You wonder how many. Ooh, great placement on the tombstone. I spoke too soon. They dropped it just in time. Still going to get a hit or two, though, I believe.
It's still the Royal Giant. It's still frustrating.
Ooh.
And look at that, playing that tornado to pull everything into the death bomb. Very nice heads-up play there from Counterlogic Gaming.
It was, but did you notice that they were playing it to make sure that that Royal Giant didn't get shots off, but it still got 2 more off? I feel like it was a slight misplay. It needed to pull it back just a little farther, or just not have used the tornado and allowed the bomb to do its work. Great pickup there.
Yeah, I was about to say, Miner getting picked up there by the Lumberjack, and not going to have anything there to take advantage of the rage drop, but still did its defensive job here, although you are spending 4 to defend against 3.
Yeah, and these fireballs and all the spell value that these guys keep getting is really one of the biggest difference makers throughout the game in 2v2 is how many times can you use spells to get damage on the Princess Tower while still making it a positive elixir trade for you.
Although now the Royal Giant getting through pretty much uncontested for a moment. They're going to get 3, not quite 4 hits off, but that's a significant moment here in this 2v2 as we are in the waning seconds of double elixir time.
It's huge, man, and we've seen the Royal Giant work its way into a few decks here in the 2v2, and I feel if you can figure out the best way to get a Royal Giant in your deck, only one for all 16 cards, and you can defend it very well, it'll be one of the strongest cards in 2v2. It's one of the only ones that can just shoot directly at a tower from a far distance.
You gotta ask the question there, Andrew. We saw a fireball just take out 2 flying machines. Do you think the Tribe intended to put both flying machines on top of each other like that?
No, you never ever stack units when you know your opponents have spells. It's just not smart. It's just a great way to give them awesome spell value, and it looks like CLG, if they can get a spell down, is going to take it right now.
No spell, but the Miner gets through, and you had the predictive Tombstone trying to pick it up. It doesn't do so, but it doesn't matter. The fireball comes through, and there you go, Skills, as he gets moved up into 2v2. He's been on a bit of a drought when it comes to set wins after kind of a 1v1 run of misfortune. But here we are getting the victory and setting up his teammates to take this match in the very next set.
Yeah, it was really tough for them to try to pick up the Miner with that Tombstone. You saw him trying to place it all around the tower, just trying to either get the Miner on the Tombstone or the Skeletons to get on the Miner, but it just wasn't enough. CLG takes it into an incredible start off to this match, and honestly, you gotta wonder how Backstab's feeling. His partner in crime, Geo, has just run the set with skills, and Backstab X is going to be moving from his comfortable spot in 2v2 over to the 1v1 set today, Rich.
Well, Andrew, he has played a ton of 1v1, but interesting, not so far here in CRL. What will he do? 1v1, Backstab X versus B-Rad on its way.
Do you know what time it is? Oh, never mind. I've got it right here. It's time for an epic 1v1 battle. Backstab X and B-Rad, having been side-eyeing each other all day, well, we're gonna say enough, guys. Let's do this thing in the arena.
No more side-eye for these two. It's going to be direct eye contact at some point here. Look down the barrel of your opponent's face and see what he's got in store.
Yeah, we got Backstab X here coming out for CLG, and I've watched him a lot on streams. Just because he's a 2v2 specialist does not mean that he cannot bring the heat in 1v1. And of course, his opponent, B-Rad, an overall record of 8-8. Now, it is even, but that's a lot of matches to play, and he's played some really tough competitors. Let's see who's going to take this 1v1 set.
Of course, the card bans here unique for all 3 potential games of 1v1, and we've seen this before. Now we have Poison and the Inferno Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, the Inferno Dragon's such a great response to tanks, whether it's a Lava Hound or a Golem, and of course the Poison, one of the strongest spells in the game, in the meta right now, banned almost 100% of the time in 2v2. These are just very standard bans right now.
Of course, B-Rad, the Miner Poison Master, capable of playing Miner, though, outside of Poison decks. Will the string of Miners continue here in 1v1? And it is Tribes B-Rad at the top of your screen. CLG's Backstab X at the bottom. Andrew, interesting note here. You talked about the experience level B-Rad playing so much head-to-head here. Backstab telling me earlier today he has not played competitive 1v1, competitive head-to-head, in almost about a year when it comes to this level.
Yeah, and it's a very great little button you said at this level, because he is one of the top ladder players out there. He streams a lot. He's fantastic at 1v1. However, like you said, hasn't played at a competitive level in 1v1 in a long time, and let's see if those cobwebs are actually going to get to him today. Great Tornado. That is exactly what you want to do every time.
Tower activation off of the Hog Rider. And when we're looking at CLG's Backstab X, are you thinking potentially Golem NATO control here?
Yeah, I think so, but what I don't understand is the Prince down the other lane, just like too much elixir. He was found, that's a Prince plus a NATO is 9 elixir, and he had nothing to defend against those guards in the Mega Minion, and now he's at a tower that is at 1,000 health already.
And there we do see the Golem in the back now playing on the same lane as the tower that is in bad health.
Yes.
So now he can stop and he pushes on that side. But, as you're talking about, we have this not a super fast Hog Cycle deck, but a Hog deck, able to get that Tombstone down so quickly. And also, but, good thing for Backstab X, getting a lot of value. 5 elixir wiped off the board by that rocket.
Yeah, that rocket was a great play. He takes out the Mega Minion here with his own Mega Minion, and I honestly think he leaves this push alone and recuperates his elixir. He's going to do some damage. You know what? What do I know? He's going to go hard, and he's going to try to take this tower right now. Great rocket there, great value, and that is why I believe that he probably should have just waited and built up his elixir again. Now, he's going to be about even here, so he's feeling good about it, and they're about even elixirs, so pretty fair trade.
As we move in the double elixir time, we have not seen both players play rocket before here in any of the head-to-head matchups. Traditionally, Golem, again, having the advantage in double elixir time. Andrew, do you think he has that here?
Yeah, with the King Tower activated and having Tornado, that's such a great response to the Hog Rider every single time. And then you got to rethink about that Golem. The biggest damage that he has is the Executioner, which does a great job. That coupled with the guards is going to do a pretty good amount of damage every single time. However, it's not going to mitigate it 100%, whereas a Tornado, 1 Tornado, 3 elixir, completely stops a Hog Rider push.
What do you think B-Rad needs to do here to pull this thing out?
Maybe switch lanes? I don't know. It feels like it's way too late to switch lanes, but that's incredible spell value right there that he's given him. And every single time he's coming down with the Hog Rider, it's going to be right into a Golem push, or it'll just be a Tornado. So maybe he's going to spell cycle him out. Maybe that's actually the plan.
That's a really interesting note here. He could try to spell cycle and get this thing now with Tornado in cycle. Yes, it is. He will pull back the Hog Rider, but at 6 elixir, we are not far away.
Oh, that was a great NATO. See, the reason he NATO'd it was to pull it farther back. That way he's going to have enough time to rocket and log again.
Oh, he's going to have
that
it. There we go.
Genius.
As soon as the log gets down, that is it. What a wonderful late game adjustment from B-Rad.
Yeah, that was really impressive. Talk about knowing the mechanics of every single card. It wasn't about doing anything to the golem other than just delaying it. I love that play. And here's the very first push from Backstab that actually got across the river. That rocket value was great, and it stopped him dead in his tracks. I think if he would have recuperated his elixir instead, and he would have had 4 more, he'd be at full elixir right now for another golem push. Instead, he's kind of set waiting.
Unbelievable, mid-game shift. We've talked about how important that is to play at the very next level, is making those little changes, moving to that spell cycle away from the hog as the win condition. And so here you go. Now Backstab X, again, having been out of competitive play at this level for a long time, I don't know if he could have even seen, should he have seen that coming? What could he have done differently?
I mean, I don't know. Seeing that coming is really tough. That was just a really heads-up play by B-Rad. Let's see if he's got it to bring home the second game right now.
Game number 2 on its way. Tribe finally on the board on the back of B-Rad, who has now moved his head-to-head win rate into the positive.
Yes, he is now 9-8. That is 17 games played by B-Rad in just heads-up competition.
A reminder, Inferno Dragon and Poison both still off the board.
Flying Machine is my least favorite card to play against. It's just so powerful and so hard to track.
And there we go, a nice little fireball to back up that push. And while we don't get the battle ram, we do get a ton of damage here.
Yeah, and CLG already celebrating a great first push by Backstab.
A very nice start. Although we are looking at the deck of B-Rad here, wondering what's coming up next, Andrew. A lot of possibilities here.
Yep, I'm trying to see what his win condition is going to be, and Backstab is wondering as well as to see how he's going to adjust.
Yeah, Backstab playing a very aggressive deck, but so far playing it very slowly. And again, it's because he's a veteran, even though maybe a little bit of cobwebs coming off in that last game. He knows not to overcommit too early with all the possibilities of what B-Rad could be sitting on.
Yeah, just because you have a bridge spam deck doesn't mean you just start spamming the bridge in the very beginning. You wait until you catch your opponent off guard, until they're at an elixir deficit, and then you start counter pushing every single, or both lanes as often as you can. Battle ram down one, bandit down the other. Switch it up.
Now with NATO, you might be thinking potentially that the Tribe's B-Rad could be playing a version of a control golem deck. He does have a lot of defensive cards there on the board as well, and he has been sitting back, letting elixir build up.
Yeah, he's playing very, very passively. However, he only has a tower with 1,000 health on it, so maybe that's not the best way to go. And the P.E.K.K.A. is a wonderful response to that Hog Rider. B-Rad is not happy to see that.
And that might have been why he was holding back so much, is that he put Backstab on the P.E.K.K.A. as that final card.
Yep.
Seeing the rest of the deck makeup, it really does have sort of that P.E.K.K.A. bridge span feel.
Totally. I couldn't have said it better myself, and I think Backstab, looking at that, realizing he can just hold the P.E.K.K.A. and then B-Rad wondering, when am I ever going to be able to get my Hog Rider to the tower? But the P.E.K.K.A. is going to get 3 swings. Wow. This is going to be a match for Backstab to lose at this point.
Backstab just saying, you know what, let's make it official. I have 1 tower down. He knows he has the P.E.K.K.A. in cycle, but a nice tornado pulling it back, and some significant damage here on the right-hand side coming from B-Rad.
Yeah, I truly believe that fireball was a bit aggressive. I understand you want to get the tower out of the way. You want to get a little bit of damage on top of that Executioner. However, totally fine. Going to come away with it. Nothing to worry about. Great play by Backstab to tie this up in set number 2.
We are all square in the 1v1, but not all square in the match overall, Andrew, because it is now just 1 game that holds the life of Tribe in its hands. B-Rad here in a very precarious spot.
Yes, and this is that very first push by Backstab, really feeling it, right? He had a rough first match. He comes off, he decides to play aggressive in the beginning, and it really pays off. He got a Battle Ram, a Flying Machine, and a Fireball. Worked out great.
The North American Open champion Backstab X feeling a little bit more loose here in game number 2. The big question now is, can he continue that in game number 3, or does B-Rad have something special in store? We have not yet seen Miner play in this 1v1 set from B-Rad.
There's no poison, and B-Rad loves Miner Poison. I actually watched his stream the other day. I think it was actually yesterday, and he was running this new Miner Poison Inferno Dragon deck that he thinks is the best in the game. But here's the thing. He doesn't have a poison, and you really, really need a poison in those Miner decks to clean up all the squishy troops around it.
And he also doesn't have is the Inferno Dragon, because that's also banned, so we won't see that. But what will we see here in game number 3?
Let's go, backstab.
Interesting note here, Andrew. Interesting note in that last showing, Backstab X ran that same Bandit, P.E.K.K.A, E-Wiz spam and ended up losing.
Oh, yeah.
Very different performance here, of course. And B-Rad has ran Miner in 6 of his last 7 games coming into this 1v1 set.
Yeah, he doesn't have it, and then you got Backstab when he ran that in King of the Hill losing, but really, really taking control of last game. We start off with 2 Mega Minions flying, a log and a Tombstone. What are these boys going to bring to the table?
Much slower. Now, Backstab potentially showing Golem here.
Definitely. He is a great beatdown player. I've watched him play it a lot on his streams. He's actually a very good player in most all archetypes, as are all the pros, but he succeeds with beatdown.
And B-Rad choosing to go to the same well again with that Hog Rider deck.
Yep, and that Baby Dragon getting on the tower isn't a lot of damage, but it adds up. And the Prince is always going to be a very good response to the Hog. However, unless he has something, he's got the log. He'll be able to log it back and hit it with the Prince, and it should stop all the hits.
The big question being, before we get into double elixir time, how many times can B-Rad get that Hog Rider on the board?
Yeah, because if he can keep the pressure up and Backstab's never able to get the elixir he wants to support his Golem push, that's really how he's going to win it. However, right now, this is a tough position to be in for B-Rad.
Now, interesting, he is going to be defending on the right-hand side. We know that Backstab has the rocket, can clear out a lot of that defense. But on the flip side, it is B-Rad's left-hand tower that's in danger. So how do you think that Backstab spends that rocket as we move forward?
Probably to support his Golem by killing all the DPS troops. He's doing the best he can here in the sense of pushing the lane opposite or pushing the same lane that B-Rad wants to push. Even though Backstab has more damage on the left tower, he knows pushing into the Hog Rider is better for him and worse for Backstab.
So well defended
worse for B-Rad, excuse me.
Well defended by B-Rad, but of course a lot of elixir spent, and we can see Backstab X just a little bit ahead here on the board.
Yeah, so you got to imagine this rocket's probably going to come in and take out that Executioner again if he can afford it. No, instead he decides to Golem up.
So we are now in double elixir time, the moment when a Golem deck shines, but it is the Hog Rider getting on the tower. It's going to get at least 1, maybe 2, and the Tornado not doing his job. That is 3 hits on the right-hand tower.
And Tribe's bench explodes with that huge misplay. I understand what he was going for, but honestly, I don't think he needed to try to activate the King Tower in that moment. That rocket almost looked like he was going to Chief Pad it and totally miss.
Well, with Tribe being here, calling that a Chief Pat, definitely a little bit of a fun play there by you, Andrew. But now we are here, moving into our sudden death overtime, and it's things are looking much more even than they appeared in the opening moments.
Look, I'll be honest with you. Backstab probably should have the matchup advantage once we get in double elixir if he's playing it correctly. However, that misplay on the Tornado, he's now in a position he really doesn't want to be in, so he's going to drop an aggressive Golem at the river. He's going to do his best, obviously, to push to the tower, but that Hog Rider only needs a couple more hits. He needs, what, 2 hits and a rocket?
And there we go. Look, very low on elixir right now is Backstab. Hog Rider making its way to the tower. He's going to use that Tornado, but can it get one more, 2 more? This could be it. We need 1 more hit, and that is it. B-Rad taking it here in our sudden death overtime. Wow, what an unbelievable play. It really looked like Backstab had control of this matchup, but it is B-Rad, making some great plays. He saw that left lane push of the Golem and took advantage. And
you gotta wonder if it's the nerves of being back in one-on-one competitive play that causes him to make these mistakes. The first one, pulling it, not activating the King Tower. The second one, not pulling it far enough to the middle to get it down. If those 3 towers are shooting it all at the same time and it's pulled to the right spot, it won't connect.
2 Tornadoes that don't do their job on the Hog Rider. The first one, the Hog Rider getting blocked by that Golem. The second one, the Hog Rider. You might even think at that point, even though it's late, put it on the King Tower so it aggravates, so it's aggroed somewhere else.
Anything is better than it hitting your Princess Tower, so CLG taking the 2v2 set, Tribe taking the 1v1 set, pushes us to King of the Hill, my favorite.
Here we are once again. We told you that we had a close matchup earlier today here in the North American region, and it was a barn burner. Came down to some last-second plays. We come down to a last-second play again and go to King of the Hill. Of course, one more reminder: each team is going to nominate 3 players. Each player gets just 1 life. The first team to knock out all 3 players from the other squad takes the set and takes the match victory. A lot riding on this one, and of course, there are new lineups and new card bans here for King of the Hill. To find out what they're thinking, let's go inside the war rooms.
All right, boys, King of the Hill time. Gio, I don't think you've ever played 1v1s yet. So we're putting you up first. You're gonna take everyone out. But if you don't, I'm gonna set myself up to redeem myself. And of course, we have skills. You're up last. But we probably won't need you. We'll see. All right, let's get it. COG.
Let's get it. COG on 5.
5. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. COG!
Okay, guys, King of the Hill, we've already been in this situation 4 times out of 6. So let's do it and let's change the roster a bit this time. Let's ban Piggies, which is Royal Hogs. And Ox, I'm sorry, but you're gonna be benched this time. I know you're the only blonde in the team, I'm sorry. So this time, J Monty, you're gonna start this.
Yay! Let's go.
If he sweeps, he gets to choose dinner. So that's a motivation at least. King Joel, you're gonna go second. I don't think you're gonna get to play, but be red.
Let's go, Brad.
You're gonna close it up. I think the bans are really beneficial for what we play. I think we know what to play, and I think we need to take this up. Okay, guys? 3, 2, 1, tribe.
Let's go.
Let's go. 3,
2, 1, tribe!
Counter Logic Gaming and Tribe Gaming are locked in the standings, and now they're locked at 1 set apiece. Who will rise to the occasion and claim this most important set and match? Your guess is as good as mine. Let's finish this with King of the Hill.
No guessing necessary after this moment, because we're going to have some matchups. And the opposite of BM, a nice little big hug coming in there for J Monty and Gio leading off here in King of the Hill.
I love it. J Monty, Gio showing great sportsmanship. These guys, look, how could you not be excited to be out in here? This is the biggest stage in the world to play this. And backing up Gio, you got Backstab and Skills. And of course, behind J Monty, you've got King Joao and B-Rad, all ready to go to war here in King of the Hill. And we've got our new band cards, don't we, Rich?
Band, we have Royal Hogs and Tornado out for all potential 5 games of this King of the Hill set. So very interesting. Royal Hogs, no surprise there. Tornado ban. So I guess now maybe we'll see a regular Hog. That's an opening there for it. Of course, some beatdown, some Lava Loon, lots of openings there with that Tornado off the board.
Yeah, the whole double push thing with the Royal Hogs and the 3 Musketeers has shown a lot today, but that's not going to happen in this match.
Interesting note, Oxalate, despite having a positive record in King of the Hill, out for this set. So leading off J Monty. And if they need it, King Joao and B-Rad playing as the closer here for Tribe Gaming.
Yeah, slightly surprising because J Monty and B-Rad have yet to take home a King of the Hill win. Keeping out someone who's been doing so well in the King of the Hill is pretty surprising to me.
Well, you know, the question here might be about matchups. They might be looking at how these players match up against Gio, Backstab It, and Skills, and thinking that there's an advantage to be had there as opposed to with Oxalate's overall record.
Yeah, that's a great point, Rich. There is so much that goes on behind the curtains here at CRL. The coaches and managers are always looking for the best strategy, and sometimes that just means player matchup, sometimes it means deck composition. We don't really know what they're going to bring.
So J Monty showing a pretty traditional deck in the current meta. Gio here, we've seen a Giant, we've seen 1 Prince. Now a Miner. The question is, what else does he have in store for us here as we move into the 2nd minute of this opening game?
Yeah, it's probably some sort of Goizen deck. He's going to have a Poison in there with the Giant. The Miner's going to go to the tower to get chip damage. The idea there is that you want the Giant to cross the river, Rich, and then you want the Miner to go in on the tower. And while the Miner is getting tanked for by the Giant, just chipping away, 64 damage every single hit. When taking damage, it does 500. When not, who knows how much it could do.
So a lot of potential options here for Gio from an offensive perspective. Of course, J Monty having plenty himself. The Bandit not getting tower lock here, getting picked up, but that Miner won't do much as well.
Yeah, these guys both know they're in very interesting positions. Neither of them really taking the matchup advantage, and then both kind of recognizing it, putting up the good sportsmanship. Good luck, brother. See what happens.
So things playing pretty slow here as we enter double elixir time. Neither player showing up a distinctive advantage. Of course, Gio playing with that Giant, you'd think he'll have maybe at least some more opportunities here as we move into double elixir time.
Yeah, and it appeared that J Monty was going to start doing his dual lane push, but he actually committed quite a bit here to the right-hand lane, and it's going to be cleaned up very well by Gio.
So still not a lot happening. We are headed into our sudden death overtime, barring any sort of crazy disasters happening here. And now a slight lead opened up on the right-hand side by Jay Monty.
Now here's the thing. The P.E.K.K.A. counters the Giant, right? But Gio can still send in the Miner to the tower to get chip damage. So this becomes a very, very interesting battle because the Giant is basically deemed or rendered useless at this point.
But look at that opposite lane push from Jay Monty right now, getting the Battle Ram on the tower, supported by the Bandit. And now it really is a lot of damage being done here. Jay Monty has to be feeling good with both these towers in trouble.
Well, yeah, because you drop a Giant down the lane and you see a P.E.K.K.A., you don't want to just let it go off to its death. You need to support it a little bit. However, Jay Monty recognizes that and it's like, hey, I can go hard and heavy, 7 Elixir, Battle Ram, minions, and this is going to be real tough. Throwing up the well played, recognizing that was a great poison value.
Very solid poison, but we're still going to get a few hits here, at least one, maybe two, yes, from that Barbarian on the left-hand side. And now that tower getting into very dangerous range. With how slow this match has been going, you got to think Jay Monty here might be in the driver's seat.
Yeah, 100%. There's just really no way for Gio to break through, unfortunately. The Miner going to the tower is going to be a great source of damage. However, the Giant cannot do damage. You just drop the P.E.K.K.A. at the river just like that. 3 hits later, he's gone.
The Giant getting eaten alive there at the river, but the poison clearing a little bit of the way. Can this Prince slide on through and get tower?
Yeah, that Battle Ram, such a powerful offensive card, but then again, also a great defensive card. You got 2 Barbarians completely protected, takes the Prince charge, then they come back and play some great defense for Jay Monty.
We have seen some excellent defensive play from the Battle Ram as of late. Of course, that Battle Ram that kited the Mega Knight over across the river earlier. That was a huge play. And right now, Jay Monty content to sit back and defend, trying to find an opening.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically just going to try to play smart defense, get Elixir advantage, throw in a fireball, keep the pressure up with the Battle Ram and the minions, and basically just kind of break through eventually. He's got no pressure on him right now.
Now, interesting note here. I was talking with Tribe Gaming's coach, and as we get into the final minute of our overtime, remember there are no actual ties here in our King of the Hill set, so it is lowest tower, and he spoke a little bit about the idea of playing control and often playing safe, playing for lowest tower rather than playing to kill a tower.
Now, I'm not going to say that his strategy is flawed, but sitting where I am at the desk, I believe playing for a draw is just as bad as playing to lose because so much can happen with the control deck. Now, the idea is you have control the entire game, right? But if you make one misplay with the control deck, you catch yourself in a horrible position to be in, and right now he is in that position. It is game over for Gio from CLG.
So no needing to play for lowest tower here from Jay Monty. Played it cool, played it calm, sat back and defended. And, it felt like he could have played for lowest tower if he wanted to, but he found the opening, got the push through, and took it down.
Yeah, and this is that push I was talking about where he had the Giant, he had the Mega Minion. He could have left it alone, but he wanted to send in the Prince to help out and to take down some of the health on the P.E.K.K.A., but that left him very vulnerable on the left-hand side. And here's the final seconds of this last match. Just too much coming downhill for Jay Monty from Tribe. Let's see if Backstab can redeem his fallen brother.
Jay Monty finally getting on the win column here for King of the Hill. Many of you probably watch him at home, a very talented 1v1 player. Hasn't had many opportunities here to get in rhythm. Here he does, and momentum is so key here we've seen in King of the Hill. And we have a guy in Jay Monty who hasn't played a lot of 1v1 against a guy in Backstab who just for the first time played 1v1.
Yeah, I have no idea what's about to happen, but I cannot wait.
Go Backstab. Monty.
Jay Monty at the top of your screen, Backstab at the bottom. Another note here, Andrew, about that last game, going into this game. And part of the thought process, we had that last Tribe game had that graveyard deck with the Musketeer and the Inferno Tower.
Yeah.
And it looked like a lot of trouble there. I was talking with their coach as well, and he was saying that in that context, they put their opponent on Golem, and they were planning on trying to chip away at that tower. They knew it would get poisoned, but they believed they could defend the Golem and actually play for lowest tower in that situation.
But then, of course, they didn't play the Golem, and that deck ended up getting trounced on. But now I understand what it was supposed to do, and this is that new log bait deck that I'm actually literally playing in between matches right now. I love it. The tank ability of the Prince, the tank ability of the Rascal Boy, getting the Prince behind the Rascal Boy to push to the tower, having the girls behind shooting at it is a beautiful, beautiful synergy between two cards that I'd actually never thought of until we saw our boy Adrian Piedra run it last week.
2 5-cost cards in a in a bait deck. Not something you saw a lot over the summertime, but something you're seeing now, especially with that Prince buff. A nice synergy, as you said, between that and the Rascals.
Yeah, because before what you'd seen was either a Valkyrie in one of those spots or a Cannon Cart. But again, the synergy here of the Prince being able to push the Rascals and get the air support is just so powerful.
Jay Monty looking like he's running it back. We've discussed the merits of doubling up on a deck or not doubling up on a deck. And, we've seen it pay off. We've seen it fail.
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting matchup. I don't really believe that either of them have a super strong advantage because if played well, you can defend against Jay Monty for very, very cheap with these cards. And having the Rascals and the Prince and the Princess is a great way to take down that P.E.K.K.A.
And that Princess is going to make playing those minions very difficult as we go along.
Yeah, the Princess is one of the favorite cards of a lot of the pros here at CRL, and the reason why is she just does so much damage. She demands such a response. You gotta log her, you gotta poison her, you can never leave her alone on your tower. She's just incredibly powerful.
And a pretty nasty push there, taking both the E-Wiz and the Zap to try to get rid of that Goblin Barrel.
Yeah, and this is another thing with the deck matchup that they have is the Battle Ram is going to be stopped easily every single time by the Prince or the Rascals.
3 hits, though, on the right-hand side from the E-Wiz. We are now 30 seconds away from sudden death overtime. And there is a slight advantage on the right-hand side for Backstab X.
Yes, and Jay Monty giving the thumbs up, knowing that Backstab continues to miss the timing on that Royal Ghost Goblin Barrel. He needs to throw the Goblin Barrel a half a second later. That way the Royal Ghost gets activated, takes the hits from the Princess Tower, and the Goblins can really do work on that tower.
Now, interesting, a lot of interactions there, nearly pushing that Battle Ram through to find an opening, but Backstab's deck is so quick, it can, as you said, continue to find that response.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that Jay Monty doesn't have a log in his deck. It's usually not what the last card is in there, and that is really why I believe Backstab has to work on the timing, because if he can get something to tank for his Goblin Barrel, he can really take the advantage here.
We are in sudden death overtime.
Great pickup of that Princess with the P.E.K.K.A. You hate that when you drop a Princess at the river. She becomes basically useless.
Princess, as you said, getting blocked there, not doing the damage that he wanted on that right-hand tower. And now, here is where there's the possibility of that Battle Ram doing a little bit of work. It does get picked up. As soon as I say it, he makes a play. It is just so fast here on that for Backstab.
But that zap by Jay Monty was perfect, and that is going to change the matchup right now. Wow.
I think I just heard "Let's go Fireball" yelled from the bench of Tribe Gaming. They felt so excited. You could hear it all the way over in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, that was some really heads-up gameplay. Again, that zap right there just was so brutal. Backstab had nothing there to pick up all the troops. That tower was very, very healthy 5 seconds ago. Well played. Backstab acknowledges it. Great sportsmanship, just not the way he wanted that match to run. And now all of it lies on the shoulders of Skills, who has yet to lose a King of the Hill matchup.
Jay Monty of Doylestown, Pennsylvania, showing up here in King of the Hill, just one game away from the sweep, taking out Geo, taking out Backstab, and now all that stands in front of him and the full King of the Hill is Skills.
Let's see if he can take this home today for Tribe Gaming.
Let's go, Skills.
Skills, Skills.
One more time, Jay Monty still at the top of your screen. He has been the King of the Hill so far here in this final set. Skills, getting taken off of 1v1, put on 2v2 after some disappointing 1v1 showings. But remember, he is currently undefeated in the King of the Hill set.
Yeah, and Jay Monty, who had never played a 1v1 set, has come into this 0-2, and King of the Hill is about to turn his record around for the very, very positive.
Will not just turn his record around, turn Tribe's record around, getting them back in the win column after a little bit of a stumble there. And there's no sign of the nerves that his coach talked about coming right now from Jay Monty. And, Tribe has to be feeling really good because they have not 1, not 2, but 3 lives remaining in this set.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be Tribe's match to lose at this point. If somehow Skills can take out all 3 of these guys, I will be so blown away. But that is no small feat.
So, we're not 100% sure if Jay Monty is running the balloon behind this, but this could be Golem NATO Control up, well, probably not the, maybe not the NATO yet, we'll see. But Golem Nightwitch up against a potential Lava Loon deck.
Yeah, that's what it's going to look like, is beat down on the ground and beat down in the air, and we'll see who comes out on top. Right now, Monty feeling really great about that very first push.
Nice work on the left-hand side, and as we approach the midway point of regulation time, it is Monty who has Tribe Gaming just one game away from sealing this victory.
And Monty has a massive matchup advantage right now because he's got the Inferno Dragon, because he's got the Tombstone, and the guards even do such great work on the ground.
And remember, very important note here, Tornado, one of the ban cards, so not going to be effective on defense for either player.
Yeah, not being able to pull that Golem to the tower, activating the King Tower. That is what I'm talking about. Just excellent defense by Monty. He's happy to take a couple shots, or belches from the Baby Dragon, I should say. Take the Elixir advantage, drop a Lava Hound, and there it is.
So taking his time here on the left-hand side. And Andrew, when you see, when it's Golem versus, now we see the Balloon coming behind the Lava Hound. When it's Golem versus Lava Hound in the same lane, which one would you rather be?
Honestly, I don't really like playing Lava Hound. I don't know why. Lava Hound Balloon is just not my jam.
Well,
but
hold
right
on
now,
here. Monty's got to love playing Lava Loon, because there it's getting on the tower, and he will also get a little bit of King Tower damage as well.
And as you can see on his side of the map, he's got a Golem that's about to go down. His tower's taking a bit of damage, but Skills here has a great push coming in with the Prince. However, that Tombstone is going to make quick, the zap. Wow.
So many,
so many things happening
cleared,
right now.
And then it's stopped, and then it's cleared, and then it's stopped. You know, it's Monty now. Can he just hold on here for the last couple of seconds?
Monty,
and there he goes.
The celebration, Rich.
Get your brooms out. It's the sweet Monty showing up here for Tribe Gaming. Wow. I mean, don't even get warmed up there, King Joao and B-Rad. Your thumbs are not necessary here in this King of the Hill set. Monty, you know, I think he's just feeling so calm and together. Barely even a reaction from him there.
Yeah, I mean, the kid, this player is just rocking the game right now. He is unflappable. He came into this match with a bad King of the Hill record, and you know what? He says that doesn't matter. Records don't mean anything. This season is still brand new. I'm going to come in and I'm going to dominate this King of the Hill with the sweep.
Let's take a look at that replay, and here we go. It's the first push, not showing Lava Hound yet. And it's getting defended pretty well, but the pups escape the poison, get on that tower, and put it in real danger. And from this point onward, Skills was fighting from behind.
Yeah, it felt like the poison was just a little high, and here's that final balloon push with the Lava Hound coming in, destroying the tower. And then from this point on, it was just Monty's game to lose, in the sense that he played crazy amounts of defense. You saw the pre-tombstone, then you saw it used again up at the river to stop the Baby Dragon. He was doing everything and anything he could, and it worked. You see that 10 seconds coming down, and you know all you have to do is defend. A Golem can be on your tower. It's not going to do enough damage.
Well, the coach of Tribe Gaming talking about playing for the lowest tower. Unnecessary here 3 times in a row. Monty takes care of business, leaves no questions asked. And of course, who else will we interview but today's hero? Christy St. John is standing by with Monty.
Thanks, guys. Amazing win, first of all. I mean, you were looking for redemption, and you found it. Your first wins in King of the Hill. I mean, it must feel great. How did you even prepare for that?
Well, so we fell into a little bit of a slump. We started out 2-1, and I don't think that's where we wanted to be. So I just thought of something that could maybe unite the team, give us more confidence in each other. And so we started watching a drama on Hulu, actually. It's called One Tree Hill. And we've seen about maybe like 10 hours of that in the past 2 days, and just being there bonding with our
This is what happens at our team house.
Yeah,
I think they're training when I go back to Texas, and they're watching dramas.
But I don't know, like just hanging out with them, I just feel like we're all better connected now. So they were like, you go first. I'm like, all right. And I was like, I got this. Basically, that's it, yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Girly dramas.
It's a girly drama, right?
It's the key to success.
That's Chad Michael Murray. I don't know this. How do I not know this show and you do?
I don't know. High school, I guess.
Makes sense. I mean, you definitely brought it today. All that love with Gio at the beginning. It seems like you were inspired.
Yeah, no, Gio was actually on our team for about a 7-month stint, and we loved having him. So I just wanted to show that, you know, he means a lot to us still, and he's just a good guy.
Gotcha. Now, Chief Pat, tell me, what does this win mean for you? Is it another One Tree Hill story?
Yeah, today's been a little bit of a whirlwind. I flew in at like 6 a.m. and I learned that they're spending all night practicing by watching girl dramas, but looks like it works. I mean, whatever works to get a win, I'm happy with, so I'm feeling pretty good right now.
You gotta be proud of a win. Thanks. Back to you guys.
Thank you.
Look, it's not just a girl drama. I loved that show.
I'm on
okay,
season
look,
2,
I'm just trying
okay?
to say something here. Anyone can enjoy it.
Gossip Girl is better, guys. But whatever works, works. And Jay Monty riding that tree all the way down. The Scott brothers would be jealous of him as he takes the victory, the sweep, helping Tribe Gaming take one more step towards those playoffs.
Yes, and Tribe Gaming, as you see, moving up in the ranking with their win into 4th place, bumping Team SoloMid out of playoff contention for now. And of course, the 2 big stories. I have to mention it every single time. Complexity at the top, 100 Thieves at the bottom. Who's going to end up in those top 4 spots?
And to find out, you should just hit that subscribe button on the Clash Royale Esports YouTube page. Of course, going to esports.clashroyale.com. And if you swipe on over, you will find the Esports tab in your Clash Royale app. We will be back Thursday, the 13th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with more North American action. For Andrew Guy, I'm Rich Slayton. XOXO, we'll see you back in the arena.
Each week, the action intensifies in the Clash Royale League. Each week, the play becomes more exceptional, and the players grow more gifted. We should all thank them for their courage and display of greatness in the arena. I mean, thank you guys. We appreciate it. And here's some amazing news. We're not even close to done. You can watch every fireball, every poison, and every princess on the road to the World Finals with a click of a button. Subscribe to the Clash Royale Esports channel, and remember, dealing with Gollum is one thing, dealing with the Golemites is quite another.